met, he and I, at Holy Trinity Church of England Hall in a boys' club called Zeb's, which was
Church of England Boys Society.
Yeah. And it sort of started from there. He and I played table tennis, and it was a Friday night thing. I think I was about 9. You would have been
just slightly
30.
older. Not quite that.
You were
11 or 12.
You would have been 11.
I was 11 or 12. Yeah.
And it sort of started from there. And then I was playing junior cricket. And did you play junior cricket?
Not at that stage. I started 69, 70, but more 70, 71 was my first year.
Yeah.
Full year.
Yeah. Well, that's when we started playing seniors. I started playing seniors. Was 71.
71, 72, 72, 73. I reckon we started 71, 72 in seniors.
Oh, we're sort of 70, 71.
We played Leader Stars, first game in our senior careers.
Did we?
Down at Mayor Park with our sitting underneath the tree as our
that was our club rooms.
Our club rooms underneath the tree.
Yeah. No drinks.
We faced
no nothing.
What was his name? Fellows.
Oh yeah,
Graham
Fellows. Yeah.
He was pretty quick. We were 16 and a half, maybe 17.
He used to have a hum. He'd come in and bowl and go, run down the pitch at you like that. Yeah. And when you were young,
it's intimidating.
15 or 16 or something. You thought, Jesus, what's going on here? And that's what he used to do. Every ball he'd come down and go, That's crazy.
Yeah. So wonder we kept playing after that very first game. Yeah. But but I also knew a few blokes playing down there then. There was Noddy Hodgins and Graham Bryce, Tocker Williams, of course. Yeah, Tocker Williams was playing. Ian Lapthorne, I think, might have been playing in those days. So I went to Northcote High School with them as well.
So did I. Yeah. That's why we're pretty dumb.
Well, some of us.
We weren't real smart. Well, you had a career in digging holes, so there you go.
And so, where did we first start playing cricket? Whereabouts was that? In your time?
Well, Mayor Park.
Mayor Park, centre wicket. That ground down there had 3 wickets.
Four wickets.
Oh.
Yep.
I only knew the one near the golf course. Then we played in the middle one, which was closer to that sort of service road.
And the darkies.
And the drain there.
The drain.
And then there was the main one, sort of on the corner of Leicester Grove.
But that was Croxton's pitch. But then there was one over in the far corner where the golf course was, and that was a Jiker pitch.
That was a Jiker pitch. Yeah. And those were the days where you'd be fielding in slips, and the flag from that other ground would be behind you. So everything crossed over.
You could be fielding at second slip, and the guy from fine leg was standing alongside you from the upper ground.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And then someone would run into bowl, and you have to go, "Hang on, ball coming." Yeah. So you'd have to stop the game. And
many times the ball from another game would run across your pitch.
And so, how many clubs were there that were based down at Mayor Park?
There was us.
Yep.
Then there was Croxton Methodist. I'm pretty sure it was a Croxton Methodist.
It was churches back then.
Yeah.
Northern.
No, there was Northcote and Preston District Churches Cricket Association.
And then they joined it to Northern combined.
Well, I went to Norman District Cricket Association.
Yeah.
I think we had about 4 name changes.
Yeah, probably.
We were trying to keep it together. It was the association. Like when we joined, it was super strong. Super strong. There was under 16 and a half Sunday school cricket, which was played Saturday afternoon. So what you were doing, you either played senior cricket or you played under 16 and a half, and then you moved up into seniors, which was Saturday. It was 65 overs. And everyone goes, "Oh, back then you only played 65," but we played 8 ball overs, of course, when it was the 8 ball over days.
But that's how Shane Johnson came here. He played for Northcote Park, who were in Jiker, or Diamond Valley. They might have been in Diamond Valley.
No, they were in Heidelberg.
Oh, Heidelberg.
They were in the Heidelberg comp.
They played Saturday mornings, and I played under 16s Saturday afternoon, and we made a deal. I'd go and play with his Northcote Park in the mornings, and then he would come and play with Holy Trinity in the afternoon, and we were both opening bowlers, so it sort of worked out well.
Yeah.
So,
Both opening bowlers who could bat pretty well.
yeah. The only trouble was they played on Malthoid, right, which was like a bitumen coating over the pitch, right? And of course, me coming off matting, when I bowled, it had come through head high all the time. That was just the way I bowled. And the umpires used to say, mate, you can't bowl short pitch balls all the time. But I couldn't help it. It was just my style.
Until you get a really hot day on the Malfoy,
And
then
then
it become tacky.
Yeah, then it melted.
Yeah, it would begin to, the surface would,
Yeah,
would
and
be
the
quite
ball
tacky.
then-
The ball would, it'd be like playing on a turf wicket that stops. It'd stop and then it'd come off again, but it wouldn't come off at any pace. It was a terrible surface.
Shock stuff.
But
And the ball ended up black.
So you mentioned matting. If you didn't have club rooms in May Park, what did you do with the matting?
They were stored originally at
122 Ballantyne Street.
Ben Ross' place.
Yeah.
Was that? Oh, was it?
122 Ballantyne Street, Benny Rob.
They were stored there. A guy by the name of Jeff Gregan, who lived in Smith Street, made up a little contraption that he fitted to the back of his push bike, and he could fit one mat on the back on this contraption, and he used to fit it to the bar under his bicycle seat, and then he used to ride with that plus the gear,
Which was in a beautifully constructed wood box.
Yeah, back in the day, we never had our own bats or pads or.
You had to put the kit on as well.
The only thing you had was your own box.
Oh.
You know, we all sort of had. Well,
Not really.
I did. The other ones were too small for me. So. Nah, so you cut that a bit. But yeah, we had gloves, pads. No thigh pads. Didn't have thigh pads in those days.
Helmets.
No
They were
helmets.
Non-existent.
No helmets.
Thigh pads consisted of 2 handkerchiefs in your pocket.
If you wanted to.
If you wanted to. If you're a sook, you put 2.
Yeah.
I used two hankies when I was opening bat. It didn't do much, but it made me feel safe.
Yeah.
And so then, starting from there, what kept you at the club?
Oh, can I answer this one first?
Yeah.
Camaraderie, mates. We become a unit of really, really close mates. We sort of went our separate ways at times, but we were always mates. If anything happened, we were all in. I'm not talking about fights or anything like that, but we were always there for one another. And I think in the earlier days when we came up from D1, I think when we started we were in D1, and within 5 years we were in A grade. And it was because we had a camaraderie and everyone used to back it in. Like if we lost wickets, we knew the next guy who was going in would probably get the runs for us. Or if we were only, in those days, like if we got 120, we were going to win.
Yeah.
We were never going to lose. We had Tom Williams, and we had himself, but yeah, we stayed because we were mates.
We had a core group of probably 6 people that were there all the time, and they were probably the better players at the time. And then you had your guys that used to come in and I can't play next week. I'm going to the beach, or I've got to go. I'm going with my parents on holidays, or my girlfriend's going to be off school, so because that's what it was. We're all still going to school, most of us.
Yeah.
So it was. You had the guys that used to just come in and go out. Sometimes we played with 9 players. Other times, you had
We'd have
heaps.
11.
Yeah, but we just continued going, and what he says, it becomes a brotherhood. I tried to explain that. I think presentation when I was talking about the grand final team. Those guys are now all brothers, whether they understand that or not, or know about that part of it. But whenever anybody talks about premierships, you talk about those guys that you played with, and that'll never ever go anywhere else.
That won't change, but there's also been a lot of guys who have come who probably never played in premiership. I was only thinking about it coming down. Like guys like Dave Foley, Ian Mason,
Yeah.
all these guys who came down and played with us because we're all at school together
Yeah.
and they were looking to play cricket. And then all of a sudden we had 15, 16 and we thought, hang on a minute, but you know, what are we going to do here? We're going to rotate and what have you. And then we started the second side.
And we were lucky.
That was 77, 78, I think, was our first year of the seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I call it, we had dynasties, right? Where we had started off the Haynes Johnson. You know, you had Ronnie Haynes, father, Jeff, Russell, Stephen and David all played. And then you had the Johnsons, Frank Senior, Frank Junior, Shane and Mark. And that's all, you know, like 10 people played every week. So it sort of worked out really good because, you know, they didn't play every week, but they were sort of on call if you were short. They used to play. So we had that. That then went to, you know, my brother-in-law came down, Jeff Gregan's brother-in-law came in Campbell Muir. Then we had the Steels. You know, and it's been really good. Then there's, you know, mates of their mates and you know, before long you had, you know, we put multiples coming, you know.
We were
So
fortunate
it's
back
very
then
good.
because Croxton had juniors. I think Duck was playing for Croxton in the juniors, Darren Steele, they were all playing for Croxton. And Croxton didn't have seniors at that stage, so they came across and started playing with us in our second team.
I think they went somewhere else first.
I think Duck always played with us.
Yeah.
He used to play tennis, Duck.
Oh,
You could only play every now and then.
yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, then he just started with us, you know, and then came.
Yeah.
And how's the club impacted your life, both on and off the field?
Major part.
Maybe more so Hyde, because he did so much work outside the club. Most of my role has been within it, but he went outside. He was, you know, he'd get us to go and help him with doing clinics, go to all the primary schools. He'd get, you know, half a dozen players, mainly senior players, to go to different schools with him. You know, he's just been awarded a 50-year award for from the Victorian Cricket Association, which, you know, we're pretty proud of. So, well done. So that, I mean, that's him outside. So, you know, the amount of work it's cost him dearly. Don't get me wrong, but he's really worked hard outside. So everything that comes to him is well deserved.
And how's that contributed to you from a fulfillment perspective?
I suppose when I have a look now and see what we've achieved and what people who come after us, like we've always been around the club, you know, but we haven't held committee positions or anything like that for many years, but we see the people who continually come through, good people who do it for the right reasons. We see people come through, they're volunteering their time, they're not looking for any monetary incentive to do jobs. And we've seen the club continue to grow. So from our perspective, from our little very small beginnings way back in the very early 70s, we've just seen the club grow and we love seeing it. And, you know, I suppose it's like it is a place that you call home. It's, you know, I've had some tough times, and when you come down here, you know, you see people that you know, there's still people around like yourself, you know. As we've discussed, you come up the ramp when you were 11 years of age, you know, and look, here you are now president, continuing on a tradition of the club and taking it forward. And, you know, guys like Duck, who came along, you know, Darren Steele, these guys, they all took on, you know, committee positions and, you know, drove it forward from coming from humble beginnings of being juniors. And in the old days, like people say, oh, you were secretary at 16. I was secretary at 16 because we were all 16. So someone had to be secretary, but we had the great Ben Robertson, and Benny guided us along the way without ever getting in our way. He was our mentor. He I don't think we've had a mentor here like Benny Robb was to us in those days. He was like another father figure to a lot of us. And when we lost him, it was a very, very sad day. And, you know, Ben, he was the one who drove us on because he loved his cricket and he wanted to make sure there was a cricket team that he could wear his white shirt and tie to go and score with his pencil, you know, and sit there out at, you know, underneath our pavilion tree and score our games.
Yeah.
You know, if people go and have a look at the scorebooks from way back, they're beautiful, but they're in pencil. Everything was always done in pencil. You never used a pen.
What was his car?
Morris Major Elite.
Yeah, and he used to get 10 people in it. 10 kids.
Pull the back seat out. We'd be in the boot.
Yep.
We'd be in
And,
the back.
and,
And
the
the
kid,
kid.
and the kit would go in the boot. Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah, we wouldn't go far, but you know.
We'd go to Red Rose Catering to pick up the bottle.
Unless you know, one of the fathers, Frank or Ronnie, would, you know, come and watch. See, Frank and a mate of his called Frank Ayres, who was a scorer. He used to wear a suit.
Yeah.
Every week he would turn up with a suit and he had a Gladstone bag.
Yeah.
And he used to turn up like that every week. Frank used to bring an esky with soft drink in it for us in ice, and that was our refreshment. That was all we had.
My dad and Freddie Rose would be sitting alongside. We had our own little we had like our own bay 13 of about 5 people under the in our pavilion, the tree.
And they were younger than what we are now. You and I.
Very much so. Very much so they were, mate.
Yeah.
But great supporters.
Yeah.
I think the greatest thing that ever happened was just to relate a story on our support group was Mr. J when we won the flag.
Oh yeah.
And we went back to the Croxton Park Hotel and, you know, because we didn't have a club rooms in those days, so we've got back and he goes, look, my shout, boys, we're going to get some champagne. You've won. I had a big win on the races.
He won the quaddie.
He won the quaddie on the races, so he's going, you know, blah blah blah.
So we're drinking magnums of champagne
and drinking beer and everything. So he goes, I better go into the TAB and collect his winnings. He went in. What do you win about $11?
I think $27. Magnums were $27 each. We had about 10 of them.
He thought he was going to win about $1,000, and he got $20.
But that was Frank. Frank was a marvel as far as whatever you wanted. You know, he was good. He was good that way.
He was.
You know, if he could help you,
They all were.
All the fathers. All the fathers were.
Yeah, and other supporters that we had. Mums. Your mum used to come down, hide behind the tree.
My mum used to open her house for pleasant Sunday mornings and
the
barbecues.
The
Gregans, the Hayneses,
the Johnsons.
You know,
that's how we raised our money because we didn't have this. We had nowhere to go.
We had no club rooms back in those days. So we used to go to people's places. We used to, and another thing with Frank, we used to get a barrel and set it up at somebody's place on a Sunday morning, and then from 11 o'clock onwards, you'd go around to somebody's place, and you didn't have to be there all day. You know, you could drop in for an hour or a couple of hours on a Sunday, and you know, if there was enough people there, we'd get the old crown and anchor happening, and play that.
For fun.
Only
for fun.
Oh, only for fun. Yeah.
Never for gambling.
And you know, we'd go and buy some sausages and a loaf of bread, and that was our like fundraiser for a week.
And that went on for a long time.
Oh yeah, did that for many years.
And then Julie Muir came on board. Was she secretary? I think. I can't remember. But she started a lot of fundraising, and then she got me involved. And I went out and I was getting sponsorship. We had Carboni Brothers, formal hire. He gave us $50. That was 5 cricket balls back then, and that was massive to get a $50 donation into the club. You know, I think balls were about $9.
Yeah, $8.
Nothing and young. They were nothing and young ball.
I tell you who really stood out too was Darren Steele. He worked for Billy Guides and Stan Cash and all that, and he used to get a lot of raffle prizes, especially our end of year raffle prize. He used to get a lot of disused furniture that we used to, you know, when we had club rooms.
When we came down here.
Yeah, he made the amount of stuff that he got in here was astronomical. you know, and his dad, Ken, God bless you, Ken, the amount of work that he did down here, you know, cleaning,
Yep.
painting, he painted all the old toilets and locker room and, you know, change room and all that, painted all that out for us. You know, he did a hell of a lot of work, and thankfully didn't want anything for it. You know, we used to give him a few beers and,
Yeah.
you know, he was
And
happy
then
with
we
it.
had Clem Wright take over.
And Clem Wright, yeah.
Duck's dad used to
Duck's
come
dad.
down, clean, do
Yeah.
all the cleaning and what have you.
But I tell you where we were very lucky were our partners. We had our mothers, even John's mum. You know, a lot of times we were at Heide's place too in Shaftesbury Parade with him and his dad. You know, but our partners too were really helpful. You know, they come on board. All the wives, the girlfriends, all come on board. You know, did a marvellous job. Probably not to the extent that Carly O'Brien has with Matthew, but they were still there, worked in the canteen and did all that work, you know, whereas Carly's sort of gone the next level and, you know, gone outside the group, you know, the core. So.
And also had the opportunity now to become a player as well. Obviously.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, that's right. And I don't think any of our, well, I know my wife wouldn't play cricket, that's for sure.
No, I don't think we would have had a women's team with,
No,
the girlfriends and wives of that era.
But that was another vision of theirs. My part of being on the senior committee, on the male side of it, we were the same with the juniors. You know, we don't really want the juniors because, you know, we're a pain in the neck. We have to do, you know, extra work and all that. He did it. He took it on, and he got people to work with him, and that's why it happened. And now you look around and you think, you know, how silly were we, or how we didn't have that vision where he did. And thank God that happened, because you know, if we had it our way, it wouldn't have happened. We would have been like a Fairfield, who, you know, was struggling to put a team on the ground, and that's because they didn't do what we did when John did. Go to schools, go and get players, you know, juniors. You know, get people to go to and do clinics and, you know, encourage people to come here, you know. And just on those dynasties, there was another one with the Clarkson boys, you know, Kevin and his boys all come down.
Yeah, Tim, you know? And Josh and Sam.
Yeah, and, you know, they've then gone on to committee and you know, made it their club, which is exactly
and now
everybody
look at
wants
Kev,
to do.
look what Kev's doing here now. Kev come down. We were fortunate because Preston YCW at the time didn't have juniors. Otherwise, Kev would have been at Preston YCW. He wouldn't have been here. And he just came down because he wanted Tim and I think Tim was playing. I'm not sure if Josh may not have been playing just then. But anyway, you know, Kev came here, fortunately. And then we ended up with Polly Sleeman here as well, with the Sleeman, you know, Mark Sleeman and Matty Sleeman played here for a while. So, yeah, and Kev has just been here, and he's just been here the whole time, you know. So it's amazing how people fall into Holy Trinity's lap. You know, good people come to a good club and they stay. You know, you could get someone like Kev come down, have a bad experience and disappear, but most people have always had a positive experience at the club, and it continues today.
Even with us, you know, I've said to other guys, you know, past players, oh, you know, come down, you know, oh yeah, but I don't know anybody. But I found that too. We're not coming down here, but they still, even though they don't know who you are, they come up and say hello. You know, which is a credit to you and the committee for, you know, keeping our names going, if you like. You know, even though we don't come down here as often as probably what we like to.
I'm still here coaching the junior.
Yeah, you are. But I mean, I'm talking about the
you think
rest of
coaching via Zoom or something, do you?
And I was talking to my brother-in-law about, you know, we really need to get the older guys here because we've lost quite a few, you know,
passed on.
And
we're desperate to get them here.
They would love, you know, Ian Williams, Doc Williams would love to see how the club is now.
Oh yeah.
You know, it'd be
well,
amazing.
what we'll do is we might take a break and we'll come back in a moment and continue that conversation.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining.